Hi guys, it's Jules and welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing something really different. I always say something a little bit different or whatever, but this is really different. I did a little poll on Twitter because I was quite interested to see if anyone would be interested in watching a video about anxiety, because I personally suffer from anxiety and the majority of people said yes. Also, sorry if you can hear a fan in the background. That's my laptop just rendering things. So sorry in advance. But yeah, so basically, a few people said no. That's fair enough. If you're one of those people, or if you're not interested in watching this type of video, then that is completely and utterly fine. It's not going to be a continuous thing on my channel. This is just kind of like a one-off thing, talking directly to you guys about my experiences with my mental health as well as anxiety and everything else. So if this isn't kind of the video that you want to watch, if you want to watch something like upbeat or completely different to what I'm talking about, go ahead and watch some other videos on my channel or just exit out completely. I mean, it's completely fine if you're not comfortable watching this as well. Again, completely fine. And also, stuff's happening in the background there, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. I'm living in a very busy area at the moment, so lots of construction noises, so sorry in advance. But yeah, if this isn't the type of video for you, just exit out of it, watch one of my other videos, or whoever else you want to watch on YouTube, or whatever else you want to watch. Just a disclaimer, basically. So for me, my anxiety is something that I've dealt with basically all my life, the majority of my life actually, since I was really young. I can't remember when I didn't have anxiety about things. Genuinely, I can't remember a time that I didn't have anxiety. I remember instances where I haven't had it or events where I'm okay with, but in the long haul, anxiety does affect me quite a lot. Genuinely, I think when I was back then, all I can really think of that I wasn't very nervous or anxiety didn't rule me as much was when I was much younger, maybe 4 or 5 area, maybe 6. I used to do a lot of stage productions, so I used to go on stage a lot. I used to be really confident in front of people. I am confident right now, but there's been a lot of instances there's been a lot of instances where I haven't been confident, and that is okay. That everyone struggles with that at some point in their lives, whether it's now, in a couple of years, or ages ago. It doesn't matter. Everyone struggles with different things. It's just how you react to those things. That's what I've learned so far in my 22 years of existence. Not going to preach to anyone. Also, just another disclaimer, what I'm saying is just my experience. It doesn't necessarily denote your experience. If you're experiencing anxiety that isn't exactly the same as mine or as different, that's okay. Like, just go talk to your doctor or practitioner or someone about it, because although you can talk to me, of course you can. That would be an honor if you talk to me about your anxiety or anything else that you're struggling with. I like doing that because it's nice to talk to you guys about really serious things as well as just gaming or Sims or whatever. But genuinely, if you are really struggling, please do talk to your doctor or whoever is going to help you in that way, because I'm not a doctor. I've never been trained, so I can't necessarily tell you the right or wrong thing to do. So just a disclaimer, just saying, I never really understood what it was until I was about 13 or 14. My past experiences with when I was much younger, I've always been a little bit bigger on the larger side. I've always been like that. That's just how I am. I have lost weight, but not that much. It just sticks to me because of my polycystic ovaries. Now that also does not help my anxiety, so it's a very complicated mess. But I was finally diagnosed with polycystic ovaries last year, and the same with my anxiety. I was finally actually diagnosed last year with generalized anxiety disorder. And I'm really happy I was, because it was finally something that I had a name to how I was feeling and how I was reacting to things. Now, I genuinely think a lot of my experiences have led up to my anxiety from school. It's always little small things, and the way that mine affects me is not really big things. So Gamescom that I've just been to, no one would have been able to tell that I had anxiety. I guarantee you, no one will have even thought that I had anxiety in the slightest, because I know how to mask it, because I don't let myself listen to my head anymore. I just do something. I don't say no, I just do it. And that's really, really, really difficult to do. And I've overcame that simply by forcing myself. I haven't been able to stop myself from doing things. Like, I can't... If I let anxiety rule myself, I wouldn't do anything. I'd be literally in bed all day, doing nothing but watching YouTube, watching Netflix, doing nothing. Because I was I used to be really anxious. I used to be so anxious that I couldn't go outside sometimes, that I didn't want to see friends. I still have that sometimes. Like, sometimes I still cancel on friends because I'm just not in the headspace. I'm not in the right mindset. I mean, it hasn't happened to me really recently, but a few months ago I have done that to people. And if you're watching my videos, I'm sorry, but genuinely I can't, if I'm feeling in that headspace where I have to cancel or where I physically can't come out, I'm not worth to be around, to be honest, because I need to sort myself out before doing anything. But that's become a very much rarer thing now that I have understood who I am, basically, within my mental illness and within anxiety. Because anxiety, everyone has anxiety, but it's the level of anxiety which differs. So I know I'm jumping around a lot. It's because I haven't wrote anything down and I'm just spieling and just completely off my head. So anxiety affects me in a lot of different ways. Currently, my anxiety affects me with the way that my thought patterns work. So for me, I find it really difficult to concentrate on things sometimes, or I concentrate too much, which is really strange. And it's very backwards and forwards kind of like, but it's very... I don't know how to describe it. It's really difficult to describe as well. So if you suffer from anxiety, or if you know someone that's suffering, be kind to yourself or them, please, because it is really difficult. Basically, the way that affects me is that I can't breathe properly. So I take in a lot of oxygen, because that's how anxiety builds up. So at least for me, like, if I take in too much, then I feel like I'm hyperventilating, so I have to regulate my breathing, like counting, or whatever works for you actually is good. But for me, it's counting down from 10 and doing it really slowly, and just working with when I feel like I should let my breath out and when I feel like I should take back in. And that's the way that I control my anxiety at the moment. But for me, it ranges a lot, because sometimes I'm fine. Like today I don't feel too bad, but talking to you guys about it right now, I feel really anxious. So it's like in the pit of my stomach, there's something there that's like kind of grabbing at me, and I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I feel weightless, like I'm not actually where I am right now. So say I'm sitting in a room and I genuinely don't feel like I'm sitting. Like I feel like I'm just not there at all. It's nothing goes in my ears. I can't concentrate on anything, and it's really strange, and it's really difficult to deal with actually. But that's how it's affecting me at the moment. But I have had instances of panic attacks, which is awful. That was the worst experiences of my life when I've had panic attacks. But also the way that it manifests for me is, it's strange. It's a very long story, and I'm not going to go into it because I know I'll get upset, and it's really hard for you guys to watch as well. So basically, for me, my anxiety comes out a lot of the time in anger, which is awful, and I usually get really frustrated or really angry with people that I love or care about, and then upset them, and in turn I realise what's happened and I get upset myself. And then it also plays back to a very dark, deep side of me, which is bad, but we're going to come on to that later because I do really want to talk to you guys about that because it's really important. The first time that I kind of experienced it, to my memory, is when I was younger. So, much younger. I'm 22 right now. I want to say about 7 or 8. So I literally went from super confident when I was younger, like below 6, to anxious mess when I was about 7, 8, 9. Simply because of bullying. It sounds really far-fetched and something that shouldn't affect someone in that way, but I was already, I think from my parents' divorce, I was already quite on edge. Even though it didn't affect me that I thought, I reckon it probably did affect me a lot more than I realise. Not saying anything towards my parents because that was their decision. It's fine. It's all good now. I can't do anything about it now. It's like been, 18 years, so it doesn't matter. But genuinely, I think that has something to do with it, as well as perhaps how I am as a person, or even my genes, because my dad is quite an anxious person sometimes. So I think it could be possibly from that area of my family too. It could be genetic, could be anything really. But for me, bullying was a very, very big thing. And obviously it's a very sensitive subject. So I'm going to tell you guys my story with it. So there's a lot of little stories intertwined with this anxiety one. And sorry if this is a long video, which it most likely will be. So essentially I was a bit bigger than other people. As I am right now, it's fine. It's completely and utterly fine to be bigger. There's nothing wrong with it, and I still stand by the fact that there is nothing wrong with it. But children are very cruel. And they used to bully the hell out of me because I was bigger. And it was just awful. It was really awful. Genuinely, it was one of the worst experiences in my life, and it continued all of the way up until I left school at 16. So we want to say from the age of 7-ish all the way to 16. Genuinely, it's different people that bullied me, but it was still the same kind of vein of, oh, you're big, so you can't be our friend, or you're not popular, you can't be our friend. But it's not just that, it's more the fact that they used to tease me and basically bully me about what I was wearing, who I was, what my hair colour was. Obviously this isn't my natural hair colour, it's purple, so my natural hair colour is like a dirty blonde, which I like personally, but I like dyeing my hair too. But they used to bully me about that. They used to bully me about where I lived. Everything that you could possibly think of, they used to bully me in. It was kind of good because it worked to my advantage that I didn't really talk to anyone apart from my very, very, very close friends, who were very, realistically looking back, they weren't my friends. But at the time, it felt like they were. So, hey-ho. This is when I was in juniors, so before I was 11. So about 7 to 10-ish age. But essentially, yeah. So I had them, I talked to them, whatever. But I really excelled in school because I didn't talk to anyone, really. I didn't bother with anyone. I also read a lot because books are still my salvation. I love a good book. So that was a positive that I took from that, and that's a good thing to do when you have anxiety, or even if you're dealing with really horrible situations like bullying. Try and take positives out of it. I know it sounds stupid, but or really difficult to do, which it is. It's really, really, really hard to do. But genuinely, if you can take a positive out of something, then it doesn't matter about the negatives. At least there's that one positive that you've taken away from that, and that's improved you as a person. Because bullying did improve me as a person. In bad ways, certainly, but a lot of good ways too. And my teenage years were actually the worst years ever. They were really bad. And I'm going to open up to you guys because I can. And because if I can help one person, even like anyone that isn't even subscribed to me, that randomly finds this video, if I can help you, then that is all I care about, really. Because I'm in a good place right now, so I'm okay. You, on the other hand, might not be, so I'd rather help you, realistically. When I was about God, I'm trying to think, to be honest. It was definitely teenage years. My mum had gotten with her boyfriend. It was all good. I didn't like the boyfriend. I'm not going into specifics about that, but I really didn't like him. Still don't like him. Still think he's horrible, but that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not telling you guys the full story because it's really long. If you guys wanted me to do a draw of my life, then I guess that could be in that, but I'm nowhere near close to that yet. But anxiety wise, it was really, really bad in my teenage years. Like, I didn't want to go out, I couldn't talk to anyone, I didn't want to do anything. All I actually wanted to do was lay in bed, and it kind of correlates a lot with depression, particularly for me anyway, with my anxiety. In my teenage years, it was really bad. Like I said, it does correlate a lot with depression, and genuinely, I think I might have been depressed at that time. I don't know how, I don't know why, whatever. I wasn't diagnosed, so I can't fully say that if I was or not, but I think that I might have been. I don't even know how to describe it to you guys, but I used to have panic attacks nearly every day. Anxiety attacks, whatever you want to call them. I just couldn't breathe, I couldn't sleep. Okay, random kid shouting. I used to have really, really bad insomnia where I couldn't sleep very well at all. I never told anyone any of this. I think I've only told like maybe 2 or 3 people in my entire life about it. But I'm sharing it with you guys, so it's okay. You know when you're so exhausted, like physically, but then your brain is just going and going and going and going. That is how it was for me for absolutely years. For like 3-4 years it was like that. I had to be exhausted physically and mentally to sleep. I just physically couldn't. Like, I just couldn't. My mind would just think about random things and really bad situations and scenarios, and everything like that I could possibly get into is what I thought about. Now, because of that, that is how I think I developed being a little bit depressed, because for me, this is really hard to talk about, and I'm going to try not to tear up because it's really difficult. So for me, I think I was 15. Yeah, I was 15. I actually tried to kill myself. And basically that is the worst decision I've ever made in my entire life. But it didn't work, thank God. Thankfully it didn't work. So I'm here today. I also did try when I was 16 as well. So that's twice that I've tried to kill myself, which is awful to admit, to talk about, etc. So that's why I'm going to gloss over that a little bit. But all of that, for me anyway, was caused by my anxiety, causing my insomnia, causing my... I guess it was depression. I'm assuming it was depression because I wanted to end my life. But I wasn't diagnosed, so I can't fully say whether it was that or not. So, hey ho. I don't want to do that now, which I'm happy about. I mean, there's certain instances where I have wanted to, but I haven't done anything about it, which is good. So if you still have, like, if you're dealing with that in particular, if you have those thoughts, literally just don't listen. Just don't listen. Just go for a walk, have a glass of water, breathe, listen to music that you like, talk to people, whether it be about that situation or something completely different. But talking to people is really important, and although you really don't want to talk about anything, force yourself to. That is my motto. For at least myself, I've forced myself to do things that I really didn't want to do, and that really helped me. But if you're really not wanting to do it on a gut level and your instinct, then don't do it, because I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do, because that's your own decision to make. So if you're really not feeling it, don't bother, because there's no point doing something that you really don't want to do, unless you're like me. And I made myself do it, which I'm happy I did, but I know that there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to do that, which is fair enough. So that aside, let's ignore that for just now. Recently it's been getting a lot better for me, a lot better, because I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not 15, 16. I'm 22. So for me, I still deal with it a lot. I still deal with my anxiety a lot. I kind of glossed over a lot of that. But university wasn't too bad. I didn't have too many anxious spells, and currently I'm not too bad right now. But I am on medication. I can't remember the name of the medication off the top of my head. But I am on medication. I take one a day, that's it, done, hey ho. But that's helped me quite a lot. So for me, like, talking to you guys, I've just told you my, like, anxiety story thing, whatever you want to call it. And now we can breathe. So if you, basically, I was going to say if you're dealing with anxiety, but I'm going to tell you guys how I deal with it. So I like to breathe and count down slowly and work out what, like, when I should breathe in and when I should breathe out. That's nice. I usually focus on one particular noise that I can hear, which is quite nice and it's quite soothing. So say if you're listening to music, actually, music's quite good for me anyway. That's the way that I deal with it a lot of the time. So I'll put some music in. Say if it's classical music, I'll just focus on one part of the symphony orchestra. So I'll just focus on the violin, or I'll focus on the piano or the cello, etc. Or if it's rock music or pop music, I'll only focus on the guitar, or I'll only focus on the singing, or I'll only focus on something, or the drums or whatever. I'll only focus on that part of the song and ignore everything else. And that helps, like, calm me down a lot as well. Getting a glass of water always helps. Ice cold is great, but if you're not able to do that, getting some fresh air is really good. Going for a walk, having light exercise, so just going for a walk like half an hour a day or something. Getting out is really good. But if you're in that kind of situation where you can't leave, literally opening the window is great too, or just looking out of the window and watching people. Something to distract you from what's going on in here is really good. Anything really, like whether it be YouTube really helped me actually as well, because I've been watching YouTube for a very, very, very long time, and watching it helped me a lot. So it would distract me completely from what I was thinking if they were doing gameplay. So PewDiePie was someone that I used to watch a lot of, but I picked him up a little bit more. The Switcher, which is Two Best Friends Play, I watched a lot. Vintage Beef I watched a lot. Paul Soros Jr., a lot of Minecraft people and a lot of random gameplay people. They're really good because they're very bright, happy. It can go either way. Vintage Beef and Paul Soros Jr., for example, they're very calming voices. They're very chill. But then Two Best Friends Play and PewDiePie, as you should know about PewDiePie anyway, they're very loud, very strong, very in your face, which can also distract. So for me, anything that distracts me is good, and takes me away from that kind of how I'm feeling in that moment is good. So that's how I deal with it. Also, stress balls are pretty cool too, that I like a lot. And being organized is good, because if you're organized in general, like if you make lists or whatever, I feel like I'm more organized here. So that's how I deal with it. But how you deal with it could be completely different. It could be the same, it could be whatever works for you is good, because literally anxiety is one of the worst things that you can deal with, and it's so difficult sometimes. I find it so hard to deal with a lot of the time. But like I say, if you're dealing with that, I mean, and you don't have anyone to talk to, if you don't have anyone at all that you feel like you can talk to, you can talk to me about it if you would like. That's always an option there. Whether it be super serious about Sims, about YouTube, about whatever, you can always talk to me regardless. But if you're feeling like not talking to me, your family, your friends, whoever would help, please talk to your doctor or your general practitioner, whatever. Anyone really is good. If you can't talk to them, I'll leave it in the description below. But there is, at least in the UK, there's a lot of helplines for you available. So I think this one for anxiety, I'm not 100% sure for anxiety. However, the Samaritans are great. They are an organisation that I really, really, really like. They help a lot. They helped me a lot when I was in my very down periods. and they are a really, really good charity for the UK. I'm not sure if the US has it or if anywhere else has it, but the Samaritans are really good. They basically work with whoever. You can call them, you can email them, you can write them a letter, you can do whatever basically. I think you can text them as well actually. But for the Samaritans, you can basically explain exactly how you're feeling, whether it be anxiety, whether it be despair, whether it be depression, whether it be whatever. You can explain exactly how you're feeling, and they will try and either talk you out of suicide if you're feeling like that. If you're feeling suicidal, they'll talk you out of it. If you're feeling anxious, they'll try and distract you. If you're feeling however, they'll try their best to help you deal with it. And they're really good for that. But for me to get diagnosed, actually, because the NHS, as much as everyone loves the NHS, and I love the NHS, any doctors or nurses or whoever that's watching out there, the NHS is great. But there is a lot of problems with it. Funding. So mental health funding is tiny in the UK. We don't get very much mental health help at all, actually, particularly if you're above 18 or even above 16, actually. Children's mental health, I think, is slightly better, but it's not great either. All in all, it's pretty badly funded at the moment. But because of that, for me, it was in my area. I can't even remember the name of them right now because I'm so anxious to talk to you guys and etc. But I'll leave it in the description box below. But they helped me a lot. There's this organisation where you can talk to your GP about it. They can't refer you, but you can refer yourself to it, and I referred myself, and that's how I got diagnosed. They are doctors, nurses, psychologists, etc. that specialize in mental health, and they are great. I think it's, yeah, that's it. They are called Time to Talk. Now I went to the Greenwich one because that's where I live. I live in South East London, Greenwich in London. Again, in London. So they were really great. It's a free service. They talk to you over the phone, or you can physically go into the centre if you're close enough. I went into the centre to get diagnosed, and then thus forth I had phone talks for about half an hour each week. And I had 6 of them, and basically they get you to fill in this big long list of things, ranging from not very often, well, never, not very often, to several times a week, every day, etc., all the time. And they score your mental health in certain things with anxiety or depression. So at the time that I actually went there, I was scoring between 18 and 20, I think, which is severe. I was scoring between them for anxiety and depression, and because of that, I was talking to them about a lot of range of things, and it really helped a lot. Like a lot. It helped me so much, and because of that, at the end, like the 6 weeks, I was like down to, I think, 5 or 6. And they help a lot because they teach you different ways to deal with it, which is great. So I keep a little diary of how I'm feeling that day, and that helps me as well, actually. But for me, after not talking about it for a very long time and kind of going in to myself again, I had to talk to my GP, and that's how I am prescribed tablets now. So that's my little story. But for you guys, if you need help, please to God, please just reach out to someone, because guaranteed someone will help you. They might say, like, a lot of the time, I've had a lot of like issues with doctors sometimes where they're like, oh, you're just feeling like this because of this. Come back when you're not doing this. Come back when you're not stressed. Come back, but whatever, to like flick you off. But literally, every single time that I've went, that has happened. Or they will play it up to something else. So they'll say, because of my polycystic ovaries, I'm more susceptible, which I am, and it doesn't help. But I still need to deal with it, regardless if I'm dealing with something else. It's still something that's affecting me. So if something's affecting you, you need to talk to people about it. And that genuinely does help a lot. For me, anyway. It has helped me a lot. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I really don't know how to end this. It's such a big subject, and I'm definitely not an expert on it. I've just told you guys my experiences with it. I've just told you guys how I deal with it and how you could deal with it. But my advice really is to talk to someone, because that's usually the best advice, realistically. But if you're really struggling and you can't talk to anyone and you don't know what to do, Google. I know that it always comes up with cancer stuff. Ignore that, please. Just type in anxiety help or anxiety, how to deal with anxiety, because that's how I dealt with mine. So I literally just Googled that, and then it gives you a list of ways that you can deal with it. And if you're not feeling the first one, try the second. It's trial and error depending on how you are as a person and how and why the anxiety started and how it affects you. Right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's been really long and quite a big issue, weighty subject, but I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Please give a like and comment down below, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not going to be doing these videos very often, but hopefully it's helped someone. Alright, bye guys.